Kia ora tātou katoa, ngā mihi kia koutou e tēnei rā. My name is Karl Te Nana, former New Zealand Māori player, former New Zealand skipper, and now world rugby producer here in Georgia. I was very lucky in my playing career in New Zealand. Obviously rugby were brought up right from little kids, and I first played for my grandfather's province in Wellington, and as a young kid coming out of school in 18. I was lucky enough to play with the likes of Jonah Lomu at school for New Zealand, Carlos Spencer, guys like that, Christian Cullen. And then we went on to our Super Rugby careers. I was lucky enough to play for the Otago Highlanders at that time in the Waikato Chiefs. My father also played for Waikato, so it was a real honour for me to follow in his footsteps. Then went on to play for the New Zealand Māori, who my grandfather played for, and then captain the New Zealand Sevens team. So I played for a lot of teams. I was very lucky to play with a black jersey, and it's always an honour to be able to play against the likes of Georgia in some of those competitions, and meet a lot of new friends, meet some really amazing people. And now to play against Georgia in my rugby career, now to be here in Georgia working and meeting and being involved in the local people is something that's really thrilling and a real honour for me. For me, firstly, my first jersey, black jersey, representing my country is always one thing that sticks out in my mind. The other thing's captaining my country for the first time is another thing that really stands out for me. Those two things, when you do that and you grow up as a kid running around in the backyards, and we've all done it in whatever sport we play, that to be able to run out for your country for the first time is just something unique and only some people get to do in their lifetime. So those two things, I think also, if you get to captain your country, that means, that you've got the respect of your peers and hopefully the opposition, and you're doing things the right way. So I think for those two things for me are just amazing. It's a funny one because Jonah and I, we played against each other in different high schools. He was a star right from those days. We played with each other in New Zealand teams, and I was lucky enough to be his captain in a couple of those sides. So to see Jonah from a very young age at school, and then a couple of years later go to the World Cup in South Africa in 1995 and become a phenomenon, the face of rugby, especially when it went from amateur to professional. The cool thing about that was Jonah was the same person that he was when he wasn't getting any money, and then when he was getting amazing amounts of money. And he was a very giving person. A lot of the times he would come into our side, I'd have to be the captain, so he would room with me, and he would give away a lot of his clothing. He was very big with the music. He always had the latest gadgets with the music stuff, whether it be boom boxes or the iPods and stuff, and he'd always give those away to the workers in the hotel. And he was always someone that was so generous with his time, signing autographs, always talking to fans in particular, and also giving away things. So I think for me to be able to see Jonah navigate that space and still remain the same person was something really cool. Yeah, once you finish your career and you're so regimented in where you have to be and when you have to be there because of your coaches, it's tough for a lot of players once they finish. For me, I still knew that I wanted to be involved some way. I actually took my refereeing papers, not to so much be a referee, but just to get their side of how they view the game. And I got pushed into coaching quite early once I finished, and realised that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And then someone asked me back in New Zealand if I'd go interview the New Zealand Sevens team. I just finished and they just won the series, so I went there and did some interviews when they got to the airport, and some TV cameras and companies saw it back in New Zealand, and that was the start of my journey into the television career. And I've been lucky enough to be disciplined and wanting to make commentary my real passion and my give back to the game. And I think it's an interesting space being in the media. It's very different, but as long as you keep those same values as when you're a player, just respecting the game, respecting the people that play it, and respecting the fans that come and watch it. I've applied all those sort of things, and there's a lot of things I learned in my career as well through rugby, to be on time, to be presentable, to be able to talk to a lot of people and be generous with your time. I think that's allowed me to use those in my TV career, and now I'm moving out of the commentary and more into the producing side and creating pathways there. So it's been a real thrill. I get to do a really cool thing being a part of rugby, and now get to come to places like Georgia or France or travel the world and again work with some amazing people that do the same thing and share the same passion as me, and that's rugby. Yeah, I was actually down to come here in 2017 for the under-20s World Championship, as it was called then. I had to stay home because the Lions come to New Zealand to play the All Blacks, so I was really disappointed because the stories that came back from my friends that came over here for that competition is that Georgia is a really welcoming place. The people are very much like New Zealanders. They love their food, they love their drink, they love their entertaining, and they love just having that respect. And so they really enjoyed their time, so I was very jealous that I missed out in 2017. And then when it came back and had the opportunity to come here, Georgia hasn't disappointed. It's an amazing country. There's a lot of similarities to New Zealand. I'll be honest, the geography is the same. It's a lot of greenery. I think the thing that makes the place is everyone's so welcoming. They're so passionate about what they do, and to be able to combine that and to come here and host an amazing tournament, which has been, I think it's been really, really eye-opening. It's been really amazing, and it's been really a learning curve for me to be able to see how the Georgian people not only follow the game but produce their rugby coverage, and for me to some way help them out and how we see it as well rugby, but vice versa, learning off the Georgian broadcast crew about how they see the game. And for me, one of my big things that stood out for me when I was playing is to be myself and be my unique self. And I think seeing how the Georgians broadcast crew are uniquely themselves, they do it a different way to how I do it back in New Zealand, but that doesn't mean they're both wrong. I think if we can merge the two, then it becomes this bunch of amazingness, and I think that's what we've been able to push out this year. It's been a brutal concept and schedule with 4 games for the teams, but it's also been pretty brutal for the broadcast to be able to set up such a high quality broadcast to send out to the world. And that's the thing I keep telling them, that the broadcast coming out of Georgia is going to New Zealand, going to Australia, going to South Africa, going to Europe, and going to the Americas. So that's millions and millions of people that are watching their shots and watching how they produce this tournament. I think it's been a massive success from my view as World Rugby. I think Sevens has a massive knock-on effect onto the 15s games. I know in New Zealand we've really used it as a pathway. We've had over 60 players go through the New Zealand Sevens program to go graduate to get their full 15-a-side test caps. I mean, we just had a guy last year, or last week actually, and Fingianga who was in the New Zealand Sevens team last year. He just got his full debut last weekend. Leroy Carter as well. He's another guy last year, played a lot of tests, who went through the Sevens program. So we see it as a massive feeder into our top grade. I know the French really use that as well, the Australians and the South Africans. So I think that's just the men's side. On the women's side, it's even more so how many players from that competition go to the full 15s jersey. So I think you can't replicate, and I always use this as an example. When you go to South Africa as a Sevens player, you're going into the den, you know, it's hot. South Africa is our major rival, or biggest rival, and there's no replication from being able to play there. And I think if you get it as a young player in the Sevens, when you go back to the 15s, you're used to training hard, you're used to the hostile environments, you're used to everyone being an expert when you walk downtown. So I think doing these things as a young player and experiencing it in a lot of different places. I even remember playing against the Georgian boys, and it was a little bit a while ago, and a lot of those guys went on to the 15s here in Georgia, and the way they were able to use those skills and translate into the 15s and make pretty long careers was amazing. So it's been really cool to be able to talk those journeys through and meet those guys that I haven't seen for a very long time here. This tour has been really amazing. I think the biggest endorsement you can get from this tournament is that the teams are absolutely loving it. They've loved being here. All the facilities have been amazing. The two venues in Kutaisi and here in Avchala and Tbilisi have been nothing but amazing. So that's one thing I think has been a massive success for us as World Rugby. Coming in and seeing the numbers that it's gotten through the broadcast has been amazing. I think it's been running smooth in terms of our broadcast and what we've been putting out to the world, to millions. That's been a real positive as well. And I think being able to come here under a very tough schedule for both the teams and the broadcast crew, to be able to maintain such a high quality broadcast has been absolutely brilliant. And I think that's one thing for me. It's been a massive, massive success. I know the competition's manager has been very highly wording of how good the organisation of the whole tournament has been. It's run really smoothly, and I think, again, that's why the teams have been so accepting of the tournament. So I think if you have teams that are happy to put on a good quality performance, which allows the fans to come and enjoy it and watch it at home, and our job as broadcasters is to point some cameras in it, press play, and let the teams decide how it's all done. So I think we've had a world first with the TMO being done remotely out of England. So that's the first time that's ever happened in the game of rugby, and I think it's been very successful because of the setup that's been here in Georgia and how they've planned and been able to make that happen. So a lot of firsts, a world first in rugby in terms of what we're doing moving forward. So it's been massively successful over the board. There's a lot of ways to be involved in rugby. You know, it doesn't always have to be as a coach, doesn't always have to be as a referee. You can also be a broadcaster. That's one of my passions. I try and keep in contact with a lot of ex-players to see, open up pathways for them. I think there's so many ways you can be involved. It doesn't have to be at international level, it can be at club level. I think that's a real strength of what we have in New Zealand is the club game and how people stay involved. And I know as a parent, dropping off my boy to club rugby, at school rugby, whatever rugby, I love it, you know. And to be able to be that support system, I think a lot of players have a lot of knowledge. They can give that back at the local level. They can do that at school level. They can do it at international level. So there's a lot of opportunities I think that rugby can create. There's a lot of volunteers that have really made this tournament work this year. So being involved on that side as well is still another option for a lot of people to be able to get involved with governance, being able to run your rugby club, being able to run your countries. There's so much knowledge that people can share. There's a lot of knowledge that people learn from other countries, like I have coming this season here to Georgia and having a lot of views about how different people do different things, but still through the game of rugby. So there's a lot of ways that you can still be involved. It's just being able to have that voice to ask questions to people around the rugby game to say, look, I'm here, I want to be involved. I love this game of rugby because it's absolutely amazing.